Welcome to Crochet Remedy. Crochet is the remedy to just about everything. Here is your dose of crochet from my hook to yours. In this video, I will share 3 crochet projects that I made using designs by Sandra Muller of Lulu Compotine. I will talk about the yarn, the hook, challenges that I faced along the way, and modifications that I chose to do to complete the projects. All of the doll patterns that I used this month are from the book Lulu's Crochet Dolls. This book is published by Search Press, and they are known for being the leader in arts and crafts books. Interesting fact, when I was on the Search Press website, I found out that Lulu Compotine is coming out with a new book later this year. So I'm super excited about the book. I have already placed my pre-order, so I'm excited. In Sandra Muller's book, Lulu's Crochet Dolls, she takes makers through the seasons. So starting with spring, ending with winter. Is that right? Spring, summer, fall, winter. Here's my copy of Lulu's Crochet Dolls, 8 adorable dolls and accessories to crochet. So one thing about this book, I first checked it out from the public library, and I was just cruising the shelves one day at the library, and I picked up this book, and I was really drawn to the beautiful dolls on the front cover. And of course I saw this doll here and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so stinking cute. So let's get into the doll patterns in this book. So here's the table of contents. And this book starts off in spring and we go through this season. So there are 2 doll patterns for each season, starting with spring. So we have Charlotte and Caroline. Now the patterns are organized from beginner, intermediate to more advanced. So if you are curious about crocheting dolls or you're interested in like a first pattern, I definitely recommend starting here with spring. So we have Charlotte, we have Caroline. I have crocheted the Caroline doll. Caroline was actually the first doll that I made from this book. We move into summer. We have Agatha and Arthur. I've crocheted Agatha. This month I crocheted Arthur. Okay, and then we move into autumn. So we have Leonie and Louis. They are cousins. I've crocheted Leonie, I've crocheted Louis. And then we move into winter and we have Celia and Zoe. I have crocheted this pattern here twice and I haven't done Zoe yet. Now this book is in UK terms, so that is something to keep in mind if you are interested in checking out this book or purchasing the book. So one thing that I had to do is just train my brain to think, okay, in the book, if I see double crochet, that is a US single crochet. So it took a little bit of getting used to, but her patterns are so well written. Like
several days later.
Say hello to Leonie. For this project, I used Paintbox Cotton DK yarn. I purchased it from Lovecraft's website. I like to use this yarn because it is 100% cotton. It's a size 3. It holds shape extremely well. It comes in a variety of colors. And I purchased the yarn. It was on sale, but I know this yarn retails for $4.75 per 50-gram ball. For this project, I used my Clover Amour 2.25 millimeter hook. I really love using this hook because of the super smooth metal and it has an easy grip handle. This is my favorite hook. So I have learned just over time, project after project, when I use Paintbox Cotton DK yarn combined with my tension and this hook, I get really great stitch definition. Now for the Leonie doll, it is an autumn pattern, but I changed a few things to make her a summer doll. And so instead of having long sleeves, she has short sleeves, so she's got her arms out. I chose to change up the colors and go with pastels instead of like autumn theme colors. Now the designer really encourages makers to embark on their own journey of crocheting delightful toys and dolls, and so I interpreted that as have fun crocheting, play through crochet. by making a few changes, really, I mean, I can turn any doll into a summer doll. I can turn an autumn doll into a summer doll. I can turn a winter doll into a spring doll. Possibilities really are endless. So for this pattern, I definitely wanted to make her cute. She is cute. I chose this lilac color. I thought it was fun and playful. Now her hair is 3 pieces. So you begin with this wig part, and then actually I decided not to go with the instructions for the full part of this part of the hair. I actually omitted rounds 20 and 21, and I like how it came out. The buns, I crocheted 2 buns, stuffed them with polyfill, and then I chose to glue the buns to the head. I didn't want to sew them on. I feel like I have more control when I am gluing the hair on versus sewing. A lot of times when I know when I'm sewing pieces of the doll together, like sometimes things will shift to the right or shift to the left, but with glue, I have more control over placement. Let's talk about her face. I chose black cotton yarn, and then I used white embroidery thread. And I used a tutorial from Cassandra from Craftably Ever After. I really like her eye tutorial. I've done it quite a few times, and each time I do it, I get better and better. It was during July 4th weekend. So I was finishing up her head, her hair, her clothing, and her face details during July 4th weekend. And one thing about my neighborhood during that time, it gets loud and crazy with fireworks. I mean, the fireworks were going off literally like all day and all night. And so I decided to retreat to the basement and just crochet the weekend away. Let's talk about her dress is removable, by the way. Right now it's being held in place with these pins, but it is removable. I chose to not like adhere the dress to the doll because eventually I want to crochet her some other clothing. But y'all, I had to frog this dress twice. So this part of the dress, when I started making it, you start here. So I chained 36 like stated in the pattern, and I went ahead on and crochet 3 rounds of single crochet. And so then I was like, you know what, let me stop and put this on the doll just to like do a little fit check. And so when I did that, I noticed that the waist was a little too big for my liking, and so I frogged it and started all over, and I decided to do 33 chains instead of 36 chains. And so that worked out really well. So I went on with the instructions in the pattern, like stated, and all was great. And then I decided, you know what, let me do another fit check on the doll. And I was noticing, I was like, you know what? My dress is not looking like the photos in the book. The photos in the book had more drape. Like I could definitely tell, like, yes, this top part was single crochet, but I knew good and well that the rest of the dress was not single crochet as well. So I frogged back to round 5, and I decided to do half double crochets, and I really like how that turned out. So I just continued on with half double crochets, and then I put a nice little edging on this on the ends, and I really love how the dress came out. I think I may do a fall theme possibly for her when fall rolls around, or maybe like a Halloween type. So stay tuned for that. In the pattern, there is a set of instructions to crochet some Mary Jane like shoes that look cute, but I think I want to do some boots instead. I've done a similar Mary Jane pattern for like a different doll, and I didn't like love the way that the shoes came out. And so right now she's just rocking her little socks. But I think I want to crochet her some boots in the future. So whenever I do that, I will definitely share an update about Leonie. So really like how she turned out. She is so super cute.
3 days later.
Say hello to Louis. For this doll, I used Paintbox Cotton DK yarn as well, and I used a 2.25 millimeter crochet hook. Louis is another autumn doll that I wanted to turn into a summer doll, and so that's what I did. So just changing up um, some colors to make him look more summer-like. Let's talk about this hat. Like this hat is so adorable. The hat along with his boots. Let's scoot him up a little bit. Love the shoe and hat combination. So the bucket hat is from a pattern. It's the Augustin doll pattern that I purchased from Etsy, from the Lulu Compotine Etsy shop. I chose to use a different shoe option for Louis because I didn't like the shoe pattern that was in the book. And so I went in my crochet books at home and I was just like going through all the different books. And I decided to use a pattern from Pika Pal book number 2. And I chose the Darwin turtle pattern and it came out really well. I love how the shoe came out. Like the one in the Lou Compotine book, it didn't really look like a boot. And I was like, Louis needs proper boots to go out playing. These definitely look kind of like rain boots. I love how these turned out. They're kind of a little bit oversized, but um, it works well. Let's talk about the hair. I chose to crochet the hair wig from the Lewis pattern, and then I decided to use the hair strand instructions from the Augustin pattern. And I really like how it turned out. Like it's got this little short curl going on, and it really works well um, underneath the hat. Let's talk face details. So again, I used a tutorial from Cassandra from Craftably Ever After. So using black cotton yarn along with white embroidery thread really gives his face really great detail. I love using her tutorial. Now let's talk about the clothes. So y'all, I did not follow my own advice when it came to clothes for Louis. So his overalls, they're a little bit oversized. So I was crocheting the overalls away from the house, and Louis the doll was at home. But I really wanted to crochet. And so it was at track practice, my son's track practice. And I was like, I want to crochet. I still want to crochet. So I was like, I'm going to make his overalls anyway. And that's what I did. So I started with a chain, and I was like, I pray this fits him. And I started crocheting away. And then when I got home and tried it on the doll, I was like, it's a little big, but it's okay. It is fine. It's fine. I could always like pin it back and I could always crochet him like a different set of overalls, in the future. Maybe crochet him a little fall set, maybe make the overalls a little bit longer for the fall. So stay tuned. Here's Louis. He's super cute. I love how this turned out.
We are family.
Here is Leonie and Louis. They are cousins in this crochet book, which I think is adorable. So here's a little bit about Leonie and Louis. This year, Leonie and her cousin Louis will be going to the same school. They will walk there together, chatting endlessly, filling their pockets with little treasures of nature gathered along the way. So I wanted to share that little bit from the book. One thing about Lulu's Crochet Dolls, it is definitely a family and friend theme going on. So here are Leonie and Louis.
Several days later.
Say hello to Arthur. For this doll, I used Premier Minikins yarn. It's a size 2 yarn, 50% cotton, 50% acrylic blend. And I used a 2.25 millimeter crochet hook. This is my favorite hook that I love to use to make my dolls. Let's talk about Arthur from the bottom up because that is how I made him. I crocheted him from the bottom up. So using this color yarn, I have so much of this yarn, so I will be making lots of dolls with this Premier Minikins yarn. It's 2 layers, so I used white and then I crocheted these orange shorts separately. All right, and let's get into his face details. So again, using the tutorial from Cassandra from Craftably Ever After, using cotton yarn to crochet the eyes. Usually I use white embroidery thread, but this time I chose to use white cotton yarn, and I I like the way it came out really good. Let's talk about Arthur's hair. I created a wig for Arthur with the intention to add hair strands. But after making this part, I was like, that's gonna be a lot. That's a lot of work. It's gonna be really involved, and I really wasn't up to adding hair strands just yet. So maybe in the future I'll add some hair strands. These are actually just to create like this texture. I did half double crochets in the back loop only, to give this like nice texture. So it almost looks like he's got like this Caesar cut with deep waves. So I actually think it looks good. I really like how it turned out. Definitely rocking the low cut Caesar with the deep waves. For Author's floaty, I chose a different route. So instead of doing the red and white floaty in the book, I decided to do a rubber duck. So using yellow to create the floaty and then adding this head to make this duck head. And I think it came out really, really cute. So Author is definitely ready for the beach, ready for the pool, wherever life sends him, whether it's pool life, sea life, ocean life, he is ready to swim. I crocheted so much in the month of July. My crojo was super high. I crocheted not one, not two, but 3 dolls. Plus, I started working on a Woodstock crochet kit that I purchased from Five Below. And I also started working on Swim Time Sammy Bear pattern from Cassandra from Craftably Ever After. So I didn't finish those projects in the month of July, so I will carry those into August, and I'll be sure to share those finished projects in the next video. Something else, what else did I want to talk about? I did decide to take just a short break at the end of the month to let my body reset, recharge. I was crocheting pretty much every single day. I would crochet in the morning, I would find time to crochet in the middle of the day, and then I would also crochet at nighttime. So my body was definitely feeling that, and so I needed to take a break. So I took about a 3-day break from crochet and then jumped back into more crochet. So during that short break, I did lean into my other hobbies: reading, writing, coloring. I even dusted off my Nintendo Switch and I started playing some games on the Switch. So sometimes we got to do that. We got to give ourselves a little bit of a break, let our bodies recharge. And I did that and I'm feeling so much better. It's the end of the video. Thank you for staying and watching. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. Every like, comment, share, it helps to make the channel grow. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
One nap later.